Welcome everybody, welcome to the N64 Memories podcast, welcome to episode 5, which is a World Cup special. I will be talking about soccer games on the Nintendo 64 in this episode, so thank you for joining me, and let's get going. There's only one place to start, I think, when it comes to football, soccer games on the Nintendo 64, and that's this series here, International Superstar Soccer. There were 3 games on the Nintendo 64 in the West. That one, International Superstar Soccer 98 and International Superstar Soccer 2000. They were released in Japan under the Perfect Striker series. And I've started with this series because ultimately it was the best series of football games on the Nintendo 64. They were absolutely fantastic. And each one built upon the previous one really, really well. We have to start with the one I just showed you. I'll show it again. I hope you like the box art cover that we got in the PAL territories. I know it's slightly different in the Americas. But it's a great game. It had fantastic commentary. It was fluid. It was arcade style, so it was always end to end, and a lot of fun in multiplayer. It had some great series on there, didn't it? Such as, the scenarios, I think are the best addition in there. I'll come back to that. But you had championships, and you had tournaments, and you had leagues, and it had, an array of countries on there to play as. So in terms of quality of soccer game on the Nintendo 64, that series really had it. I like how International Superstar Soccer 98 had some better commentary, some authentic commentary on there, and just sort of tinkered with the fluidity of the play, of the game mechanics, which I thought was really, really good. Just to fine tune it, I think. And then International Superstar 2000 introduced a career mode, which is really, really quite unique, actually, if you play it and try and work your way through it. It really feels like quite idiosyncratic, quite Japanese in many places, which just adds a lot of fun to playing through that if you wish. But like I said, I think that the best bit about this series were the scenarios, which I completed all the scenarios on the first game, where, if you don't know, they give you a situation in the middle of the game or towards the end of the game. You might be losing, you might be winning, you might have a penalty, a free kick. It could be anything like that. But by the end, you've got to win that match. And they start off really easily. Like, you might be already 1 or 2-0 up. You just got to see the game out. Get to the hard ones, and you've got minutes left. You might be 4-1 down or something like that. You might have a penalty. They might give you a little bit of a head start, but you've really got to work hard to complete that scenario. And I think they were really, really good. Really tested the quality of your gameplay and whether you could outwit the opponent to get the win. So really, really great series of football games. And if you haven't played them, thoroughly recommended. Start with the first one, I would say. Work your way through them. You'll find how they improve as they go along. I would say that the main negative, of course, is the lack of real names in these games. They didn't have the rights to the player names. They were very close. And you could change them, of course, as well. So it gave you something to do there, changing the names, getting them all up to date at the time was a lot of fun. But unfortunately, I think that hindered this series of games without the real player names. And that leads on quite correctly onto the FIFA games. Okay, I've got one here. I've got just a cart of FIFA 99 there that had Dennis Bergkamp on the front in the PAL territories. And ultimately, FIFA was the brand, wasn't it? The FIFA games were instantly well known from the very first one, FIFA 94, I suppose. And the FIFA games had all the real player names, so it made sense that sort of people gravitated towards the FIFA games. Completely understand that. On the Nintendo 64, they had a very, very mixed quality, let's say. Let's start with FIFA 64. It's appalling. I don't know if you've played it, but ultimately it's a really poor game. Not sure why. It could have been rushed to make it out for 1997 because it is the equivalent of FIFA 97. It was actually a release game for the Nintendo 64 here in the UK. So on March 1st, 1997, when the Nintendo 64 came out, it was a launch game. Maybe it was rushed to coincide with that. It's just not put together very well at all. It's really poor in many ways. The gameplay, the delay when you press a button, pass or shoot, whatever that might be. The presentation of the game is shocking. Really, really shocking. And ultimately, you only had to wait a few more months before International Superstar Soccer 64 came out. So it would have made sense to wait for that. But maybe for those who couldn't wait, or for maybe those seduced by the FIFA branding, they might have gone out and bought FIFA 64 and been sorely disappointed, I would imagine. Subsequent games did improve. I mean, the biggest improvement was ultimately FIFA 98, FIFA Road to World Cup 98, to give it its full title. That is a much better game. It's still not as good as International Superstar Soccer, but in terms of a comparison with FIFA 64, it's very far ahead. It's much better. And of course, it has all the real player names and endorsements. I think they had David Beckham on the front cover, if I remember rightly. And it sold very well. And it's a decent football game. Like, it plays pretty well. I wouldn't choose it over International Superstar Soccer, but I wouldn't be adverse to playing it if a friend wanted to have a match on that one either. And then came along World Cup 98, which technically isn't a part of the FIFA branding, but it is made by EA Sports. And actually, of all of them, because I showed you FIFA 99, of all of them, World Cup 98 is my favourite. That is the one I've played the most out of the 4 games. I think it's just great to be able to set up your own World Cup and play that tournament, which is a lot of fun. Obviously, I enjoy the music at the beginning of it as well, and it's a polished game. It's a decent game. It's pretty much like FIFA 98, but with the World Cup branding. And personally, I just prefer that one, not because it's particularly any better than FIFA 98, but I just think I enjoy it. Maybe it's nostalgia. Maybe it's the fact that, I was enjoying it during the World Cup in 1998 in France. Maybe that has something to do with it. And then, like I showed you, the last FIFA game, FIFA 99, which is actually technically the best of all of them. They finally got it spot on by the end. I remember a lot of reviews gave it in the 80%, whereas International Superstar Soccer got into the 90s. But FIFA 99, of all of them, is technically the best game. It's the most polished game. It's the game that flows really well, that plays really well. It's great in multiplayer. It's got all the real player names. Graphically, it's the best of all of them. So if you're looking at playing a FIFA game on the Nintendo 64, I would go with FIFA 99, technically. But I also recommend World Cup 98 as well, especially as we have the World Cup happening right now. You might want to, combine the two, watching the World Cup, playing the World Cup on the Nintendo 64. Who knows? But the FIFA series, like I say, it was a mixed bag. It improved year upon year ultimately until they did get it right. Sadly, there were no more after FIFA 99. There could have easily been FIFA 2000, FIFA 2001. Sadly, these didn't materialise. I would imagine they had moved on to Nintendo GameCube, PlayStation 2, and they probably weren't selling as well on the Nintendo 64 as other consoles, like the PlayStation and then the PlayStation 2. The next series I'm going to show you of soccer games on Nintendo 64, well, it's not really a series, but it's interesting. I'll show you the first one. This came out in Europe. Michael Owen's World League Soccer 2000, which is actually really a port of Michael Owen's World League Soccer 99 that came out on the PlayStation. And it's a decent game, actually. I mean, first and foremost, and they needed this, it has real player names. If you're looking to compete with FIFA games and the superior international superstar soccer games, if you haven't got real player names, you're onto a loser. I really think so. So they did the right thing there. They had real player names and real teams as well, especially from the Premier League here in England. So Manchester United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham Hotspur, with the real players on there. It makes a huge difference to someone considering buying it at the time, I would imagine. And I would put that game on a par with FIFA 99, actually. I think they're very, very similar in quality. I imagine FIFA 99 would sell better because of the branding. But Michael Owen's World League Soccer 2000 is, for me, the same quality as FIFA 99. I think it plays really smoothly. Graphically, is actually really nice, really vibrant. Really, there's no fuzz. It's really sharp, and the gameplay plays pretty decently. I think one thing I like about this game is that depending on how hard you press the button, it relates to how far the ball moves or how hard you hit the ball. So you might, want a little dinky shot and you might just press it lightly. You might want to hammer the ball home into the net and press the button a little bit harder. So that was a little bit of an interesting concept that they added in. Ultimately, if I've got the choice, I'm over Michael Owen's World League Soccer. I'm going to pick an international superstar soccer game, but I'm probably going to pick World Cup 98, maybe even FIFA 99 over there. I mean, it is down the pecking order. It didn't challenge them really. Ultimately, when it came to the time period, it didn't sell particularly well. But it's not to be overlooked. It's not to be overlooked. Therefore, the reason I'm introducing this game to you is because of this. Mia Hamm's Soccer 64, which only came out in America, and is interesting because it's really a remake, a reskin, let's say, of Michael Owen's World League Soccer. It's exactly the same game, apart from it's got female soccer players and female soccer teams, and it's endorsed by Mia Hamm. And did you know it's actually in the Guinness World Records for being the first video game to feature female soccer players, and it came out in 2000. Even more interestingly, the same development company released a game on the Dreamcast, I believe, just a month later that also featured female soccer players, but it doesn't get into the Guinness World Records because Mia Hamm Soccer did it first. So it's nice to know that there's at least one Nintendo 64 game in the Guinness World Records. And like I said, it is just a reskin of Michael Owen's World League Soccer. It's the same game. You've got female soccer players and female soccer teams instead. What I also found out is that they had 12 weeks to make this game. 12 weeks! So it really is just a reskin. Like, it even feels like They've just put ponytails on all the player models and called them female soccer players. You've got obviously the female soccer teams. You've got a female commentator on there. I can't remember her name, sorry, but she might be well known in the United States of America. 12 weeks, I can't believe it. They had 3 months to get this game ready. So really everything about the two games, mechanically, in terms of gameplay and game engine, they're exactly the same. They've just reskinned it in a really fast time. If I had a choice between the two, I would probably be going for Michael Owen's World League Soccer. I think it is a better game. I think the issue with Mia Hamm's soccer is I think that, where it's been rushed into, a reskin job, I'm not sure it's quite as good, when it comes to the gameplay. I don't know what it is. I've been playing both recently. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I know there's something just a little bit off about Mia Hamm's soccer. But for the novelty, I really enjoy Mia Hamm's soccer, and I'm really glad I've got a cartridge of it, because I'm here in the UK, so it's an American cartridge. I play it on my analog 3D, and I'm really glad I've got it, because it's a nice novelty, I would say, for the Nintendo 64. Right, last but not least, in this World Cup special episode, I've got this game, and a lot of you might not recognise it. It is Premier League Manager 64. Sorry, I've said the name wrong. Premier Manager 64. And this only came out in the PAL territories. So it didn't come out in the Americas, didn't come out in Japan. And it's a football manager game, a sim game, where you take on the role as the manager of, I tend to pick a Premier League team here in England. And it's your job, I suppose, to do your best with that team, win the title, gain promotion maybe to a higher league, win the Champions League, win the FA Cup, whatever it might be. It's your job to do that. And I really, really enjoy this game. Look, the ultimate manager sim is I would say Championship Manager on the PC. I mean, those games are off the chart. They're fantastic. But here we've got one on the Nintendo 64, and it's very scaled down. It's very, very limited in terms of what you can do. You can obviously buy and sell players. You can tinker with their fitness regime. You can obviously tinker with formations and what players are playing, what players you need to rest. You can even think about sponsorship deals, stadium, and whether you want to build a new part of the stadium, whether you want to raise ticket prices. So there is a little bit of depth there for those taking it seriously. But like I say, nothing like the Championship Manager games on the Nintendo 60. On the PC. On the Nintendo 64, it is limited, but it's still a lot of fun. And if you do have an analog 3D, especially if you're in the Americas, if you have an analog 3D, this cartridge will work on it. And I recommend you give it a go if you're interested. I started off with Tottenham Hotspur, which is my team. I did a couple of tries with Tottenham Hotspur, didn't do very well. I think I got relegated in my first season. Worryingly, that almost came true in real life. In my second season, I was mid-table. So I say second season. In my second try at the first season, I was mid-table. So I did a little bit better. I then tried with Manchester United. And in my second attempt with Manchester United, I won the double. I won the Premier League and I won the FA Cup, which was really a lot of fun. And I enjoy just finding the right formation, I think, is key to Premier Manager 64. Once you've got the right formation for your team, it goes a long way. So if you need a tip for playing it, work out the right formation for your team. It does go a long way to having some success. Absolutely. Okay, thank you. There you go. There is the end of my World Cup special episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed making it for you, and I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to the World Cup starting. And I'll be watching as many games as I can here in the UK, despite the difficult time difference. Take care. I look forward to seeing you hopefully on episode 6. Thank you very much. Goodbye.